That thing stole my kill!
Hey nerds, today I want to talk about TIE fighters, and specifically two variations of the TIE fighter, and which one was better. These two TIE fighters are the TIE Defender and TIE Phantom. These two ships break the mold of the usual TIE fighter philosophy in big ways. The TIE Defender is armed to the teeth and can intimidate the toughest of pilots. The TIE Phantom, on the other hand, can cloak, and is one of the few ships in the entire Star Wars universe to do it, and especially for its size. These two ships are always tied for my favorite TIE fighter, and as you continue to watch this video, I think you'll see why. I'm going to present some information about each TIE fighter, and then I want to discuss which ship is better. I think this is especially interesting because the United States, Russia, and China have both invested in stealth fighters and stealth technology. However, in the Star Wars universe, I mostly hear about the TIE Defender, which is a traditional air superiority fighter. I'm not saying the TIE Defender shouldn't be as popular as it is, I'm just saying it's interesting how our existing military trends differ from what's in Star Wars. Also, for a portion of this video, I'll be showing some quantitative information, numbers based on a statistical analysis of these ships. I'll get into the details of that later, but I want to let you know that up front that there will be some heavy math. So if that's not your thing, that's cool. I left timestamps in the description so you can get to the good stuff. And with that done, let's talk about TIE fighters. The TIE Phantom is a TIE fighter centered around its cloaking ability. This cloaking ability hides it from both the naked eye and most ship sensors. In Star Wars media, the TIE Phantom first appeared in Rebel Assault 2: The Hidden Empire, released in 1995. The TIE Phantom was being developed to scout enemy strongholds and attack high-value targets, or join a fight at a pivotal moment. However, the Rebellion learned of the TIE Phantom program and sent two agents to infiltrate it. They successfully destroyed the existing prototypes, and the TIE Phantom they stole self-destructed when its anti-theft countermeasures activated, so they were thought to all be destroyed. The TIE Phantom appeared again in the expansion Empire at War: Forces of Corruption, and this was also the first game where the TIE Phantom would receive its name. And, making it even more special, this is where I was first introduced to TIE Phantoms and what they could do. The signature ability of the TIE Phantom is made possible by its Stygium array powered by Stygium crystals. This system draws a lot of power, so it's impossible to have the cloaking device active and fire the weapons at the same time. To help with this, the TIE Phantom also has a co-pilot to help manage the stealth and weapon systems. In summary, the TIE Phantom is arguably one of the finest feats of Imperial starfighter technology, incorporating aspects of traditional fighter design and its one-of-a-kind stealth ability. On top of that, I think they look pretty cool. Now on to the TIE Defender. The TIE Defender is the pinnacle of what a superiority starfighter can be. In Star Wars Legends, the TIE Defender program was started by Grand Admiral Demetrius Zarin, and the TIE Defender was in its final stages just prior to the Battle of Endor. Zarin attempted a coup against Emperor Palpatine, but was defeated by Admiral Thrawn, who also developed another spacecraft specifically to counter the TIE Defenders. In canon, however, Thrawn is the driving force behind the project, and they were almost mass-produced prior to the Battle of Yavin. However, between Governor Price blowing up his fuel depot, and the Ghost Crew intervening, and a certain Project Stardust draining the Empire's resources, the TIE Defender program never reached full-scale production. So in either canon or Legends, the TIE Defender was rare, but easily the most feared Imperial starfighter. This starship had 4 laser cannons, 2 ion cannons, and room for rocket launchers and even more cannons. On top of that, this fighter not only had shields, but their shield strength was significantly above average for a ship of their size. It would take a lot of direct hits to bring one of these down. The TIE Defender is as mean as it looks. The TIE Defender has virtually no weaknesses. The only thing that held it back was its production cost. So which ship is better, the TIE Defender or TIE Phantom? Well, rather than have them fight each other, I'll save that for another video, I decided to compare how well each ship could take down an X-Wing. I figured that scenario made the most sense, because whatever ship the Empire was going to mass produce should be the best at taking down an X-Wing or other Rebel starfighters. To do that, I used some programming and statistics to give me a clearer picture of how these TIE fighters would perform in a dogfight. First, I'll tell you where I got the ship stats that I used, and then I will briefly describe the code I made to compare them. Some of you may have heard of the tabletop game X-Wing by Fantasy Flight Games. I decided to use the ship stats from that game for 3 reasons. First reason, this game has a list of starfighters from all eras of Star Wars. X-Wing has over 30 plus starfighters from 7 factions, including the Empire, Rebellion, Confederacy, Republic, First Order, Resistance, and even the criminal underworld is represented. Second reason, this system is easy for me to replicate for other universes. This means in the future I can include other fighters and capital ships from different universes. Last of all, I think it's fun. I've really enjoyed playing this game. So much so that in the past I ran another YouTube channel dedicated to it. I feel this game captures the spirit of space combat in Star Wars, and it is very satisfying to play. If I'm going to reference any game, it should be one that's enjoyable. Now, real quick, I want to explain the program I created and the process I used. I put all of the stats into a spreadsheet and created a custom Excel subprogram in VBA to determine if the ship was positioned to fire, and then calculate its attack, and then also determine how much damage the defending ship could dodge. This process was repeated until one ship was destroyed. I also ran this program 50 times for both the TIE Defender and TIE Phantom. And then I averaged those results, which I'm going to share right now. The TIE Defender won 34 of the 50 battles and lost almost all of their shields, but their hulls were untouched, on average. It also took, on average, 26 rounds to destroy the X-Wing. When the X-Wing did win, they on average lost all of their shields and about 20% of their hull value. So even in defeat, the TIE Defender was hitting hard. There was also one draw that occurred. I don't think that really means anything in the big picture, but I do think that was really cool, so I wanted to share it. But how did the TIE Phantom do? Well, the TIE Phantom won 42 out of the 50 rounds. It also, on average, lost all of its shields, but the hull didn't suffer any damage, though it did take them a little longer to destroy their X-Wing than the TIE Defender. In the 8 rounds the X-Wing won, it had lost all of its shields and almost 50% of its hull value. So the TIE Phantom wins this statistical analysis. But does that make it the better starfighter? Not entirely. My scenario only accounted for one-on-one combat, not squadron level tactics. If there was a second X-Wing, both the TIE Phantom and TIE Defender would have had a rougher time. Good thing the Empire always brings lots of other TIE fighters that could distract the Rebellion as well. However, in the end, the best TIE fighter to mass produce is the one best in the widest variety of situations. So as much as I love the TIE Phantom, which is statistically better than a TIE Defender, the TIE Defender is better for a few key reasons. First, the TIE Defender has a greater variety of weapons: lasers, ion cannons, rockets, and even more cannons. It can be customized to suit whatever its target is or targets are. Second, it's cheaper by 60,000 Imperial credits. So for the cost of 4 TIE Phantoms, the Empire could produce 5 TIE Defenders. Third, the TIE Defender has 1 pilot, whereas the TIE Phantom has 2 pilots, making it double the training investment. Finally, a single TIE Defender would likely perform better than a single TIE Phantom against multiple opponents. TIE Defenders are heavily shielded, so they can aggressively pursue one Rebel starfighter and evade the other. The TIE Phantom shields, on the other hand, aren't as strong, so if they were pursuing one X-Wing, another one could come behind the Phantom while it's uncloaked and destroy it. If the same tactic were used against a TIE Defender, the flanking X-Wing would deal no or little damage to the Defender's hull, while the TIE Defender has the firepower to destroy the target it's pursuing, or at least immobilize it with its ion cannons, thus allowing the TIE Defender to focus on the other fighter. So in Legends, I guess the Empire made the right call. though if it were my decision, I would mass produce both. But what do you think? Would you focus on just the TIE Defender, or TIE Phantom, or neither? Better yet, which one would you want to fly? A stealthy ship that can get the jump on anybody, or a TIE fighter that can just outshoot just about anything it comes up against? Personally, I think the stealthy way sounds more fun, but there will definitely be days I would prefer overwhelming firepower. It's just too fun. Thank you so much for watching, and if you really enjoyed it, consider sharing this video with someone else who also really enjoys TIE fighters. This series will continue, so hit the subscribe button if you want to be notified in the future the next time I post a video. Thanks again for watching, and stay nerdy, my friends.